The beginning of the story. On an ordinary day, hundreds of people filled a crowded railway station, each focused on their own destination. Among them stood a teenage boy named Kay, quietly waiting for his train. Everything seemed normal until his eyes landed on a familiar face across the platform. It was Ko, his childhood friend. The two had once been inseparable, but now they stood like strangers. Neither spoke, neither smiled. They simply stared at one another from a distance, as if years of unresolved feelings hung silently between them. Before either of them could make a move, a sudden scream shattered the atmosphere. A drunk man staggered too close to the edge of the platform and lost his balance. Within seconds, he crashed onto the railway tracks below. The crowd erupted into panic. People gasped, some shouted, others backed away, but nobody moved to help. Nobody except Ko. Without a second of hesitation, Ko jumped onto the tracks. The drunk man was unconscious and far heavier than he looked. Ko struggled desperately to lift him back onto the platform. "Help me," he shouted. Nobody answered. His voice grew more desperate. Then he called out a single name. Kay. For a brief moment, Kay froze. Fear rooted him to the spot. The approaching train horn echoed through the station like a warning from death itself. Despite being completely alone, Ko somehow found the strength to push the drunk man back to safety. The crowd cheered, but their relief lasted only seconds. Because now Ko was trapped. The train was almost upon him. At that moment, Kay finally overcame his fear. He sprinted toward the edge and reached down toward his friend. Their hands connected. Kay pulled with everything he had. But fate had other plans. His footing slipped, and suddenly both boys fell onto the tracks. The train thundered forward. There was no escape, no miracle, no last-second rescue, only acceptance. A few seconds later, the train passed directly over them. Their lives ended, or so they thought. Instead of darkness, Kay opened his eyes inside a bright white room. The space looked unreal. The walls were spotless. The air felt strangely cold. Several confused strangers stood nearby, all looking just as frightened as he was. In the center of the room sat an enormous black sphere. Nobody knew where they were. Nobody knew how they had gotten there. The group searched desperately for an exit, but every door and every window was sealed shut. As panic rises, a man in the room bluntly informs everyone that they have indeed died and have opened their eyes in this strange waiting room for heaven or hell. Before anyone could argue, bright beams of light suddenly shot from the black sphere. The beams formed the outline of a human body. Piece by piece, layer by layer, until a young woman appeared completely out of nowhere. The man notes that this is exactly how they all arrived. Because the newly formed girl is entirely naked, a man named Hiroshi begins to stare at her with predatory intentions, forcing the Honorable Ko to step in and cover her with his own jacket. At that exact moment, a digital message flashes across the surface of the large ball, declaring that their old lives are gone, and this sphere will now dictate their new existence. The ball displays a picture of a bizarre alien creature named Onion and coldly orders them to hunt it down and destroy it. The metallic sphere then splits open, revealing weapons and individual suitcases containing advanced specialized suits along with an unconscious man resting inside the mechanism. Except for the naked girl, whose name is Kosumoto, and who must wear the suit out of sheer necessity, no one else has the courage to put the strange gear on. Kay notices a mysterious boy named Nishi, who is already wearing his suit, while the rest of the group focuses on inspecting the advanced firearms. A man named Suzuki tries to rationalize the nightmare, suggesting they were taken to a hospital and drugged. But his theory falls apart when he notices a countdown timer ticking away on the ball. Before anyone can react, their bodies turn translucent and completely disappear. And seconds later, they find themselves standing on an empty city street. Some survivors joyfully assume they have finally been sent home, but Nishi quickly shatters their illusions. He lies to them, claiming they are now unwilling contestants on a secret television show called American Triumph created by his wealthy father, where the ultimate victor wins a $1 million cash prize. Nishi claims he joined the game by choice and points directly to a small boy standing nearby, identifying him as the Onion alien. The greedy group instantly charges toward the child while Ko and Kushimoto hold back in suspicion. The hunters surround the onion creature who plays innocent until the very last second when he spits a corrosive substance at them and bolts into the shadows. As the chase begins, Kay and his companions realize the entire area is completely deserted and the roads seem to run in endless looping circles. Suddenly, the hunting party rushes past them again, and this time, Ko and Kosumoto join the pursuit. They corner the creature inside a dark garage where Hiroshi fires his weapon, blasting one of the alien hands clean off. In a horrific counterattack, the creature severely crushes the legs of 3 men. The remaining group unleashes a hail of gunfire together until the creature is completely obliterated. The graphic violence causes Suzuki to throw up in disgust, but Hiroshi laughs hysterically, continuing to shoot the corpse until Ko physically forces him to stop. The victory is short-lived when a towering massive alien arrives on the scene. Hiroshi immediately mocks the giant, but the creature retaliates instantly, severing Hiroshi's leg before lifting him into the air by his skull. As Hiroshi flails wildly to escape, he accidentally knocks off the giant wig, revealing to everyone that this monstrous being is actually the Onion Father. The group fires desperately, but the raging father uses Hiroshi's body as a meat shield until Hiroshi explodes into pieces. The creature then goes on a rampage, slaughtering the hunters with its razor-sharp nails. Walking nearby, Kei hears the horrific screams and sprints toward the garage, arriving just in time to see the monster moving to execute Ko. Kashimoto charges in to protect him and the blue lights on her suit glow brightly, granting her superhuman strength. Kei watches from behind a van in absolute shock as the powerful alien lifts both Ko and Kosumoto and hurls them through the air. Though Kosumoto's suit protects her from any injury, desperate to fight, Kei opens his suitcase only to find his own suit is completely missing. Left with no options, he hurls the empty suitcase at the monster, which does nothing to slow it down. As the alien closes in on Kei, Nishi appears from thin air and binds the creature tightly with a high-tech rope. Nishi tells Kei that he earned extra points for his creative suitcase attack and offers him a gun. But when Kei freezes in fear, Nishi cold-bloodedly kills the alien himself. Instantly, the 4 survivors are transported back to the White Room completely healed. Suzuki arrives shortly after and Nishi explains the rules of the game. As long as a player does not die completely during a mission, Gantz will fully restore their body upon return. When the scoreboard appears, Gantz awards everyone 0 points along with harsh insults, while Nishi receives 5 points, bringing his total score to 79. The faces of Hiroshi and the other dead players are added to a grim memorial screen, which brings a satisfied smile to Nishi's face. Enraged by his callousness, Ko grabs Nishi by the throat, demanding to know why he let the others die. But Nishi uses his suit power to painfully break Ko's grip, stopping only when Kei points a rifle at his head. Suddenly, the room fades and the group is dropped back into the real world. Everything appears completely normal, but the railway station monitors still display the breaking news of Kei and Ko's tragic deaths. At school, the other kids mock Kei, but a quiet girl named Kohima secretly draws a beautiful sketch of him. She attempts to strike up a conversation, but Kei dismisses her. Later that day, Kei visits Ko's apartment only to find the building has been demolished and replaced by a parking lot. He tracks down the alleyway where the battle occurred, finding trace evidence, even though the garage has been scrubbed completely clean. There, he encounters Kosumoto, who confirms they share the same memories and shows him her suit, proving the nightmare was real. Having nowhere else to go, she asks to stay at his apartment, and Kei agrees. She reveals that after a painful breakup with her boyfriend, she drank heavily and accidentally drowned in her bathtub, waking up naked inside the game. Kashimoto still holds Ko's jacket, which contains his personal diary. Using the address inside, Kei discovers that Ko is currently out on bail. Meanwhile, Ko suffers from intense nightmares about the aliens, waking up in a panic. When his younger brother, Ayumu, checks on him, Ko hides his terror and sends the boy back to bed. The moment the child leaves, Kato, Kei, and their allies, along with 3 terrified new participants, a young woman, an old grandmother, and a crying toddler, are pulled right back into the White Room. Nishi coldly warns the newcomers that escape from Gantz is impossible and that fresh bodies will always arrive to replace the dead, making Kei and Ko realize Nishi used the fallen men as bait the night before. Before they can argue, Nishi and 2 others vanish into the next zone, forcing everyone to scramble for their weapons. The helpless grandmother and toddler are the first to cross paths with the new alien named Tanaka, who casually murders them both while listening to music on a radio. Kei finds the bloody scene and paralyzes with fear. The alien stands waiting for the rest. And because Kei's suit and weapon fail to activate immediately, he takes a brutal beating, surviving only through the passive defense of his armor. At the last second, Kei fires, destroying the alien radio. This drives the creature into a frenzy and it unleashes a sonic blast that knocks Nishi out of his cloaking mode and sends him crashing through a ventilation shaft. The alien pins Nishi down, crushing his suit entirely. Ko intervenes, tackling the monster down a shaft where it fires a deadly light beam. But Ko uses his enhanced strength to lift the heavy creature into the open. Kei slides down to find Nishi, who uses his final breaths to tell Kei to score 100 points and resurrect him before dying. The alien punches Ko away and targets Kosumoto, but Ko takes the blow for her. Kei tries to get a clean shot, but the monster is locked in close combat with his friends. Kashimoto strikes the creature with a metal pipe, but the alien overpowers her and throws her into Ko. The monster charges Kei, but Kei taps into his suit power, launching the alien into the ceiling. Taking full control of the brawl, K delivers a flurry of enhanced punches, severely weakening the beast. As the alien charges up a final energy blast, K shoves his gun directly into its mouth and pulls the trigger, blowing it into tiny fragments. Back in the White Room, Gantz gives K 7 points while everyone else gets 0. The ball reveals that reaching 100 points grants two choices. Either resurrect a fallen player or erase all memories to return to a normal life. The next morning, K practices his super strength around the city, hiding his suit under his school uniform. That evening, Kohima takes him out for coffee and gives him the sketch, prompting K to reminisce about how he used to protect Ko from bullies when they were children. Meanwhile, Kashimoto returns Ko's jacket, and Ko confesses he went to jail for killing his abusive father to protect his little brother. Later, Ko watches the news reports covering the unexplained destruction at the garage. And during dinner, Ayumu admits he keeps dreaming that his older brother vanishes forever. Ko promises he will never leave him. That very night, the sphere summons them back alongside a large group of new players to hunt an alien named Ill-Tempered. Ko begs everyone to equip their suits, but a stubborn priest refuses, calling the hunt a sin. The argument cuts short as the teleportation begins, dropping them outside a grand museum guarded by two massive warrior statues. Before a strategy can be formed, a reckless new teammate shoots the left statue, shattering it completely. Instantly, the second statue brings itself to life and attacks, though its clumsy movements are easy to avoid. Inside the museum, the priest kneels to pray, but every time he blinks, the interior statues creep closer to him. Outside, K and Ko engage the main warrior statue. Another teammate runs inside toward the priest, prompting K to scream a warning. K slides underneath the massive stone legs, blasting off a limb which crushes a newcomer. With the monster crippled, K shoots it directly in the face, destroying it. K celebrates his victory, but Ko reminds him a teammate just died. K angrily blames Ko for failing to clear the area. Suddenly, an injured female teammate stumbles out of the museum, revealing another monster hides inside. They rush indoors to find the priest dead, and a massive statue with multiple arms ambushes K, knocking his gun away and beating him severely. Ko pulls him to safety and leaves him with Kosamoto, stating it is his turn to protect his childhood friend. Ko engages the multi-armed demon, dodging its strikes until the creature suddenly speaks, distracting Ko long enough to disarm him. The alien claims it is seeking vengeance for its fallen race. Kashimoto fires a blast that triggers a massive explosion, but the monster emerges unscathed, swabs her aside, and draws multiple deadly swords. Ko activates a blade from his own suit, but the alien completely outmatches him, launching him into the air. Kashimoto catches his falling body and charges the beast, only to be impaled by multiple swords at once. She collapses into Ko's arms and dies before she can give him a final kiss. Blinded by intense grief, Ko attacks wildly, but the alien bats him away, killing him instantly. Seeing both of his companions lying dead, transforms K into a vessel of pure rage. He activates his suit to maximum power and engages the multi-armed demon in a brutal duel. Spotting a dropped weapon above, K leaps for it, but the alien blocks his path and drops a small idol that instantly grows into a colossal giant. The Colossus tries to crush K between its massive stone hands, but K escapes the trap, takes Ko's gun, and blows off the giant hand. K intentionally flies directly into the giant open mouth, firing wildly in all directions until the massive stone beast explodes from the inside out. After the dust settles, K runs over to Ko's body, but his friend disappears into light before they can speak. K returns to the White Room accompanied only by Suzuki and a lone newcomer. Realizing all his friends are gone, Gantz awards him 13 points and places the faces of Ko and Kashimoto on the wall of the deceased. When K demands to know how to save them, Gantz reminds him of the 100-point requirement. The next morning, a depressed K ignores Kohima attempts to comfort him at school. Later at the train station, a child drops a toy onto the tracks, and as K hands it back, a speeding train bears down on him. K stands completely paralyzed, ready to join his friends. But Kohima courageously pulls him back to the platform just in time and confesses her deep love for him. A short while later, a heavy-hearted K visits Aomu to deliver the tragic news of his brother's passing. That night, Gantz calls the survivors back to the White Room, surrounded by a crowd of fresh faces, while K stands just outside the perimeter watching the police investigate the mounting chaos. And for the first time, K realized that death had not freed him from danger. Instead, death had only opened the door to something far worse. Now carrying the weight of his losses, K continues fighting. Every mission, every alien, and every point earned brings him closer to the chance of bringing Ko back. Yet the road ahead is filled with death, sacrifice, and impossible choices. Because in the world of Gantz, a game where monsters existed, a game where human lives were worth point, survival is never guaranteed, and the next mission is always waiting.